Alrighty, are we live? It says we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to another day in the BrewLab. Me, Lone Fox. I hope you're all doing well, wherever it is that you are on this gorgeous planet of ours. COVID or no COVID, the new cards continue to come at us in spoiler season, and I'm coming at you with Spoiler Talk Part 7. Today, in Spoiler Talk, I condensed 3 days into one because there's relatively less cards being spoiled now on a regular basis. So, yeah, there's not so many of them that I need to split this up into separate movies or, clips. So I'm going to just do it all in one. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. I could just ask you to all kindly, do the usual YouTube stuff, just a little self-promotion bit at the beginning that we all are forced to do. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video and leave some comments down below. Thank you for listening to that nonsense. Now that is out of the way, right into some fresh new cards. Today I'm looking at a 3-mana instant called Rally Maneuver. 2 and a white. Target creature gains +2/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Up to one other target creature gets +0/+2 and gains lifelink until end of turn. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm seeing some like incredibly good fight spells that go really well in Magecraft decks or also with Goldspan Dragon because you're targeting yourself with it, the dragon, so then it makes a treasure token which opens up another 2 mana. There's a lot of ways of storming off and making that dragon huge. They don't declare blockers. And there's already a few of them in standard right now. The one called, I think, Double Fury or something like that. And now with this, and there's another one that was spoiled. I wonder if we can quickly go look it up. I don't want to get too bogged down in doing this sort of stuff, but I'm personally sort of making the fresh connections as I look at some of the cards, and I'm like, okay, wait, what was that other one that we saw again that we could like double that up with? It was a red one, if I'm not mistaken, and it was spoiled quite near the beginning of spoiler season, so down here somewhere. Bear with me. Dueling Rapier, no, that's an equipment. Flame Skull, I think it was somewhere around here. Plundering Barbarian, Ballasting, Den of the Bugbear. Okay, no, maybe it wasn't in red, maybe it was a white one. But anyway, like instant speed, cheap fight spells that have targeted, text. So you have to actually target your Goldspan Dragon, and then you can keep casting other ones on top of it, and because of the treasure tokens Goldspan is creating, similar to the Mutate deck with Goldspan. Anyway, Meteor Swarm, Null Camp. Yeah, this was one of them. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. But it was another one that sort of did the doubling thing. This one at sorcery speed also gains haste, can't be blocked by walls, and you venture. Anyway. Wow. Here it is. Critical hit. This is the one I was looking for. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. So there's that new dragon. There's another one that we haven't seen yet in these spoiler talks, which I'll show you in a moment. But there's one that's already been spoiled called Old Norbern. In fact, here he is. So you've already got Goldspan down. You play Norbern. You attack in. That makes a treasure token. So you're attacking with Goldspan, because Old Norbern doesn't have haste, but he's on the battlefield. You attack with Goldspan, makes a treasure token. That's enough to cast critical hit. You put it on the Goldspan Dragon, it makes another treasure token. Now it's got double strike. Okay. Then, I mean, so much cool new stuff. You might have had a Delina down at that point. So when you roll in that, okay, that, so then you're rolling dice. You might be making copies that are attacking of the gold span. Suddenly, even if that's just where it ends. So gold span swinging in makes a token hit with critical hit. That's 2 hits for 5. Each time that happens, Norbone creates 5 treasure tokens that are now each worth 2 mana because you've got Goldspan in play. So now you've made 20 mana worth of treasure tokens in one attack phase on turn 6. The next turn you could have like Crackle with Power, the new X spell from Strixhaven in red with the 3 X's, and you just dome them because you've anyway already swung in at least twice with Goldspan. That's busted. I cannot wait to do that kind of stuff. But anyway, I got super sidetracked. I was looking at Rally Maneuver, which is another one that I would add in a deck like that for sure. Next up, Spoils of the Hunt. Another instant. 2 in a green. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each mana from a treasure that was spent to cast a spell. Then that creature deals damage equal to its power. Okay. So it's a fight spell that cares about treasures. And it can give maximum +3/+0 if you spend all treasures to cast it. And then it fights the tower. So not that good. Not that good. This was an interesting one. I saw it on Dev's channel as usual, SBMTG. He's my main source of spoilers other than my own brain. And yeah, like he said, for you to get, so basically it reads that you pay X and 3 green. You return X target cards with different mana values from your graveyards to your hand. If 8 or more cards were returned to your hand this way, your life total becomes equal to your starting life total. So late game, I guess, but you need to have basically 8 mana value cards, like perfectly like discarded or sacrificed, or that have ended up in your graveyard, and then still you got to pay 8 plus 3, 11. It's a weird one. I don't think the main thing here is going to be like getting the final bit here where you'll go straight back to 20 health. It's more about just getting, like, maybe casting it for less and getting, maybe 3 or 4 creatures back to your hand. It's just a way of drawing the best stuff out of your. It doesn't even have to be creatures. Different cards with different mana values. So yeah, because of that different mana values piece, it's going to be tough to get it to 8. So that you get this starting life total thing. But even if you just get some stuff back to your hand, that's all your best spells from your graveyard, for less than 11, then it's still a pretty good card. But we'll have to see where that ends up. Burning Hands. 2 mana, instant, red, uncommon. Burning Hands deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If this permanent was green, Burning Hands deals 6 damage instead. Okay, so it's another one of those ones that cares about the color, like sideboard cards for specific matchups. 2 mana for 2 damage to creature and a planeswalker, and there's better cards than that. Obviously, Shock, Frostbite. But if that is a green permanent, then suddenly it's 2 mana for 6. That starts to be a little bit insane. So you maybe run like 2 or 3 of these in a sideboard if it ends up being a meta where there's a lot of green cards that you need to take care of. Then this suddenly looks pretty great. It's going to be interesting with these cards slot in. There looks like there's one for every color. Next up, we have another instant. It costs 6 mana, 4 and 2 blue. Draw a card for each different mana value among non-lands cards in your graveyard. It'd be some kind of a new different mana value cards. I wonder. Self-mill and then replenish. I wonder if this sees any play. I'm undecided. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, we have Unexpected Windfall. I think we already spoiled this one. Anyway, instant speed, another instant, a day full of instants, 2 mana and 2 red mana, so 2 and 2 red. An additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card. Then you draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens. Wow. So it's like a better version of Seize the Spoils, or sorry, yeah, exactly. Better version of Seize the Spoils. Seize the Spoils is 1 mana, cheaper, but it's not sorcery speed. I mean, it's not instant speed, it's sorcery speed. And uh, you don't get 2 tokens, you get 1. But you still, you draw 2 cards. Yeah, it's the same amount of cards that you draw. It's the same amount of cards you're discarding. This is epic. This is going to see loads of play, I think. It's that like tie over when you don't have the mana to cast your big dragon in hand. You just like leave up the mana. They might be worried about casting something because you might be holding up a burn spell. And then when it's their end step, you cast this and you get to draw you discard your worst hand, maybe a magma opus, so that you turn on your cards that need big spells in the graveyard or whatever, and then um, draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens. That's great. Ramp and card draw in red. And that's going to see loads of play. And then that's just an alternate art for long rest, so we won't look into that one again. Done. Sunday 4th, out of the way. Onwards and upwards. Monday the 5th. Significant more cards and not just all instants. So pretty stoked to go into this. 14 cards here to look at. Let's jump right in. First one is a black one. Acererak. Epic. Oh god, I can't wait. Zombie deck. There's gonna be a zombie deck, and it's gonna hopefully be freaking good because I love me some zombies. That hand of Vecna I saw, and the other 2 things that we needed to sacrifice to the book of Vecna or whatever. Finally, we found out what they are. I think they might be in the day after this. There's one. Eye of Vecna. We'll look at those in a second. But anyway, I haven't had a look to even read this one yet. It's the first time I'm reading this one. Acererak, legendary zombie wizard. When it enters the battlefield, if you have not completed the dungeon Tomb of Annihilation, return it to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. Okay, whenever Acererak attacks, for each opponent, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless that player sacrifices a creature. And it's a 5/5 for 3. And you can keep casting it and venture further until you've done venturing and then drop it down. Or, do a bunch of adventuring first with other stuff and then drop this on the last turn and then it doesn't go back to your hand and it stays. Start making zombie tokens, which have synergy with plenty of other zombie token creating things in the set. Ooh, I like a Rarak. Ace Rarak? Epic, epic. Cannot wait to play that. So finally they've spoiled the creature land for green, and like I said in my previous videos, of course they keep the best for last. If you control 2 or more other lands, so same text as the others, Hydra comes into play, Hydra Nest comes into play tapped, and then of course it just adds 1 green mana, but then you can pay X and 1, and it becomes an XX green Hydra creature until end of turn. It's still a land. X can't be 0. So pretty good. You can make this huge and put like one of those new runes that give trample directly on the lands. Make a deck that's only lands. I've been dying to do that like for a long time. Just a bunch of control, no creatures, and then all your like attackers are lands that cannot be hit by most of the stuff in standard. There's very few land destruction cards at the moment, so. And there's another little combo that everyone's talking about that we'll get to in a moment with one of the new cards from. It's actually not anywhere here yet that I can see. It was like, where is that card? I've seen it all over my Facebook groups, but I haven't seen it here. They're a little bit slow, either hub usually, but basically it like creates a token that's an angel. It's a 3 mana white artifact. All 3 white. I don't think I've seen it yet. And you know, if that angel is in play, it's like that one angel from the previous set. Basically, you can't lose the game, and your opponent can't win the game. And you just make your Faceless Haven, which can be an angel because it's a changeling land. Um, you first make it into a creature, comes onto the battlefield, then you put put the token from that artifact I just talked about onto the land, and then you can't lose the game. And then because it always becomes a land again when it goes, finishes attacking, then it's very difficult to get rid of. That's going to be an interesting one as well. Like, I wonder when they like just forget something and make a mistake, or if it was intentional that way. But that's going to be a cool combo to try and figure out. So this is the alternate art for Lair of the Hydra. Don't like these. Divine Smite. This is another one of those color hate. So Divine Smite is a 2-mana instant, 1 and a white. Target creature or planeswalker and opponent control phases out. If that permanent is black, exile it instead. Yeah, it would be cool to like phase something out that's getting in the way of your last attack, and then you can still swing in, or like because it's instant speed, they're about to attack, and then you phase it out. So regardless, that's still pretty good thing to be able to do for 2 mana at instant speed. But the fact that it also then exiles if it's a black permanent, like Professor Onyx, a 2 mana instant that gets rid of Professor Onyx. Whew, these are going to be weird because they're all uncommons. They're all really good, but like only really against the specific color that they're designed to hate upon. So like maybe one of each in sideboard, but then how reliable is it to get one of anything in best of three? It'll have to be seen. They'll probably the one that gets played the most will be the one that's countering the best deck in the meta. So whichever deck arises as the best deck, it'll have these cards will be sideboard staples to kind of beat on that deck. That's my opinion on that. This one's really cool, and I like it when they do these things. You like think, okay, that if there was a second spell you cast, which came in Kaldheim, then you think, okay, well that's it. This is probably not going to happen again. Maybe not for who knows how many sets, but then they bring back one card that has something reminiscent of the previous set in it, like this. So there's a lot of synergy with this card, I think, and there's plenty of cards in standard now. I don't have my. Let me just quickly open my client because I do want to just say the right card names for you guys when I come up with these synergies, because I think it's pretty crucial and the reason why anybody would watch this video anyway. Because by now most people have read all the spoilers themselves. But it's about figuring out like where a card could go, yeah, and like what other cards would work well with it, that what would it replace? Is it a better version of something that's already pretty good in a deck and we can push it even better? But in this card's see, so now my OBS has this in front so you guys can see. Second spell. Ooh, laggy. We've got this guy, Codespell Cleric, which is also a 1-drop, so pretty good. We've got Clarion Spirit, which is really good. We've got this guy, which didn't see much play, but you never know. And then then there's this guy, which is pretty damn good with counters. So it's counters, growing the board. Maybe some kind of a Lurus second spell deck, which I've been trying for a while now to get going. Let me put the window capture on top and me on top again. This guy fits right into that deck, and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you just play like the Ozolith and Lurus and a bunch of removal. And like all these little tiny 1/2 drops that keep coming back with Lurus that keep gaining counters, and maybe that could be a pretty cool little aggro deck. There's also that new cool hand hate card that fits the color combo here, Humiliate, reveal their hand, and then you put a counter on something. This might be just a card that deck was missing, because I did try to make it, and it's good, but it's not that good. But this is like sort of like the Fox card in the cycling deck, or something you can get into turn 1, and then you just start growing it. Before they reach that turn 4 and are able to do something with the sweeper, you might have already almost gotten in for that damage. And then if you've got the Hazalith down, all the counters you've created to that point are saved, and then you put something maybe on Faceless Haven, you put all the counters and swing in for the final blow or something. Interesting. I like this card. I think it's going to see a lot of play in mono white decks. Moving on, White Dragon. Finally, the uncommon White Dragon. Pretty epic art. I love that art. Flying 4/4 that costs 4 and 2 white, so 6 mana total. Comes into play, has Cold Breath. When White Dragon enters the battlefield, tap target creature and opponent controls. That creature does not untap during its opponent's next untap step. This is so good, I think. Like, if it was just a little bit cheaper. But like I said many times now in these spoiler talks, there's going to be a lot of treasures being created. I think super big spells like this are not going to be as much of a problem to cast as most people think they're going to be, because they're still stuck in the massive treasure ramp that we're going to be experiencing in the next set. So keep your eyes peeled for all the dragons. I think they're all pretty damn good. They're all friggin' flyers. Whew. There's going to be once the first person cracks that crazy 5-color dragons deck with Tiamat and stuff, it's going to be something special to see go off. Next up, this I've seen a lot of complaints about already on, although it costs a lot, but like I said, remember my comment now about the lots of treasures. True Polymorph. It's a 6 mana that takes control of an artifact or a creature, and it becomes, it's a copier. Target artifact or target creature becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature. So you can also target one of your enemy's things and make one of your crappy little things into the enemy's things. Pretty cool. Or you can make one of your treasure tokens something really good of your opponent's artifacts. For 6 mana. Instant speed. True Polymorph. Cool art. Not sure. Definitely Jank Lord material. I'm going to definitely be trying to do something busted with that, but I'm not sure how good it actually is. Next up, we have Rust Monster, a 3 mana 2/1 with first strike that has sacrifice an artifact. Rust Monster gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It doesn't say you can only do this once, so I mean you can grow it pretty big, and it does have first strike, so it becomes like a way to create a trade for a creature that you don't have something strong enough to remove. You just swing into this, and they need to block it because they might, not want to take all that damage. And then it's got first strike, so you can, pretty cool, pretty cool. Don't know what it would replace in the 3-slot in what deck. Maybe some beast thing. I don't know, but it's a cool card. I like the design. Haha! So there was a few new Planeswalkers over the last couple of days. There's also Mordekainen that we're going to talk about in a moment, but there's also this other guy here, Bahamut, Grandmaster of Flowers. This looks so cool. First of all, I love the art, epic art, really well drawn. Love this borderless edition. Well done, Yong Jai Choi. 4 mana, 2 and 2 white, so not too expensive. Legendary Planeswalker Bahamut, Grandmaster of Flowers, and he has a static ability that as long as Grandmaster of Flowers has 7 or more loyalty counters on him, he is a 7/7 dragon god creature with flying and indestructible. Okay, and he's only got plus abilities, so you're constantly plussing. So of course, to get to 7, that's going to be another 4 pluses, but still. You can give a target creature without first strike or double strike or vigilance, can't attack or block until what? Target creature without first strike, double strike, or vigilance. So any kind of normal creature that doesn't have one of those 4 things. No, 3 things. First strike, double strike, vigilance. Can't attack or block until your next turn. So I guess it's a way of protecting Grandmaster mostly, if there's some creature that you want to make sure doesn't attack in and stop you getting to that 7 loyalty. Next up, we have search your library and/or graveyard for a card named Monk of the Open Hand. Oh, it's that guy from earlier, the cast a second spell thing. Interesting. Reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. Cool. Interesting. Very interesting. There's not often that a Planeswalker has a creature name in one of the loyalty abilities. The last time was one of the 6-mana Elspeth from the Elspeth Conquers Death set with the one Oracle something Phalanx. Let me just go look it up. You know the one I mean. It was this less played but actually really cool 6-mana Elspeth, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. The mythic one, and yeah, -2 said you search your library and/or graveyard for a card named Sunlit Hoplite and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. So pretty cool, actually. Looking forward to seeing how these two synergize and why they've decided to do it that way. Then we can skip over these two because they're just other versions of cards we just talked about. And then next up we have the black color hate card. So 1 mana for an instant, target creature gets -4/-1. So this is great. Bye Selfless Savior, bye Seasoned Hallowed Blade. Even if they were not white, which is the card color hate that this card is targeting. But even if the card is, if they weren't white, this would still get rid of them because -1's enough for the Selfless Savior and Hallowed Priest for 1 mana at instant speed. But if that creature is white, instead it gets -4/-4 until end of turn. So it's essentially like that Grasp of Darkness, but for 1 mana less on a white creature. So pretty damn cool. I think, again, we'll have to see where these end up. But it's a great card, I think, regardless of the color specifications. Next up, okay, we've seen White Dragon. This is just the other art for it. Pretty snazzy. I prefer this one though. Look how cool that is. This is a card I'm really looking forward to trying. So I went into my Golgari sort of decks and I found Skeleton. There was actually more than I thought. In Standard, however, that will be remaining after the rotation. There's only actually the Moss Pit Skeleton, which is one of the cards from Zendikar Rising with Kicker. If you guys don't remember, it was 1 black, 1 green for a 2/2. But if you kick it, it enters the battlefield with 3 1/1 counters, so it becomes a 5/5 for 5. With recurs every time it dies, you can bring it back, and then again play the Ozolith with it or something like that. But it's the only other skeleton, so I don't know where this goes. But so not really much of a skeleton tribal thing happening right now that I can see. But still, Golgari fits the colors, and it's each skeleton you control has trample and attacks each combat if able, and gets +X/+0, where X is the number of other skeletons you control. And at the beginning of your end step, you create a tapped 1/1 black skeleton creature token. If a creature died this turn, create 2 of those tokens instead. Epic. It's like a creature factory that keeps making skeletons, and then it grows the skeletons that you have because they get +X for the number of skeletons. And they all have trample, and they have to attack all the time. So this, like the drawing, this army of skeletons just keeps coming. And if there's some cool little synergies that we can do to make that production of skeletons more, or having multiple of these on the field or in some sort of control shell, that starts to become really cool. I'm super excited to play with that card, actually. I'm going to be making some crazy shenanigans with this on day 1. By the way, just quick little side talk about day 1 of the Dungeons and Dragons set. So I have here, I've already said this in a few of my other videos, but just in case you're a new viewer, I have here pre-purchased 50 packs. And I've been saving since a while now. I've been saving for a good while now. Oh, I didn't even notice that I have guys watching. Billy. Hello, Billy. Thank you for jumping on. And Max. Hello, Max. How are you, my boo? Sorry, I was just gonna reiterate an important point here about cracking packs on day one. So I have saved 72,000, and it'll probably get up to closer to 80 before we can actually open these things. And I've got 2,000 gems. And I mean, the main thing to look at here is that I have 38 rares, 406 uncommons, and 149 commons. So I can basically what I'm going to do is on day one, go here. I'm going to do a whole video on this, so don't worry. Go into collection, go to this, and you select just the new set. There'll be a new, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms will be over here. You filter out everything out. You select only that one, and you of course click not collected, and then put it on common and uncommon and rare. Or start with common and uncommon, and you select it, and you craft 4. Select it, and you craft 4, and you do that. Well, you don't have to do it that way. The easier way actually is to start it. You make a new deck. So let me give you the full cheat mode here on this. Let's delete something that I don't like anymore. Probably this one, not this one. And I'll show you the best way to do it. You make a new deck, so then the cards are ending up here. So then you do this, and you put one of each of the new cards. One of each of all the commons and uncommons. You make this huge deck, 250 cards, and then you have to put 4 of each in the deck. 4 of each, 4 of each. Click, 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 click. And then because you have none of them, at the bottom here there'll be a button that says Craft All, and you just go, and you craft the entire set with all your uncommons and uncommons that are used here. The entire common and uncommons of the entire set. Boom. Before you've even opened a single booster pack. Then you go and you decide, okay, which rares, if you have plenty like me, be a little bit willy-nilly. If you have a bit less, just, pick out the rares that you're already sure you want at least 4 of, and craft those as well. Save the mythics. At that point, buy with all your gold and all your gems, as many boosters as you can possibly buy. Then you go to your packs section, and you start cracking the packs. What happens is the vault, there's a little treasure chest that appears here called the treasure vault or something like that, and that gets filled up every time that you open a duplicate. So if you start cracking your new packs without having even opened owning a single common or uncommon of the entire set, then you're not going to be adding to your vault when you're opening packs until a lot further in, because it only happens when you open a duplicate, and that only happens for commons and uncommons, because rares and mythics you get gems or wild cards. So do it with your commons and uncommons. That means by the time you finish cracking all of these packs worth 72k plus all the gems and all the packs you bought in the pre-sale, your vault should appear, and that will give you also an extra couple of maybe 3 mythics and a couple golds and rares and uncommon wild cards that then you can keep crafting with. And by the time you're done with that, on day one you should have upwards of 70 to 80% of the set done and dusted without needing to spend more money than one pre-release pack. Then you can just start doing your dailies, and by the end of the first season of a new set, you're bound to have close to the entire set. Anyway, that's my little deck cracking guide for you guys. Pack cracking guide for day one when the new set releases, and I hope you stick around on the channel to watch me on day one as I crack all of those packs and do exactly what I just said, and hopefully we'll get some incredible pulls and start brewing right away. But back to spoiler talk. One moment. Pow. Pow. There we are. Oh, and pow. Skeletal warning. Okay, last 12 cards that were spoiled on July 6th, and there's some doozies. And I think we'll just start with the best. Because honestly, I am so excited to play with this guy. Infierno de los Montes Estrella. Inferno of the Star Mounts. Pardon me to all my Spanish viewers. I wasn't meaning to rip you off. I just can't help sounding like that when I read Spanish. Infierno de los Montes. This spell can't be countered. Fuck you, mono blue. Flying. Haste. 6/6. Okay? It gets +1/+0 until the end of turn by paying 1 without having to tap it, so you can pump as much mana as you have into that. When this power becomes 20 this way, it deals 20 damage to any target. On a 6/6 haste flyer that's on curve with Goldspan Dragon. Are you insane? This is gonna be so sick. I cannot wait to play this. I'm gonna do a Gruul Dragon deck probably day one with the old Norbone, 2 copies of old Norbone, 2 copies of this guy, Goldspan, and like good removal and draw spells, and I'm just gonna freaking destroy people with that shit. It's gonna be insane. Keep your eyes peeled. Day one. Next up. Man, I'm so in love with that Star Dragon Mount guy. It's gonna be ridiculous. Don't even get me started. You can do this guy, no, sorry, Goldspan swings in, you make a treasure. Next turn, you cast this guy, then you swing in again, make a treasure. That gives you enough mana to cast Old Norbone. Then you swing in, do the thing with the double strike that I talked about in the beginning of the video. On the suddenly you've created like, I don't know, 100 million mana's worth of treasures in one turn, and then you just like, I mean, if they haven't died at that point, you just crackle with power straight to the face. Oh, I hope you can feel my excitement through the screen. It's gonna be ridiculous. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Reopen close tab. Sorry. Hi, Billy. Welcome back. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Where were we? Druido do Circolo della Luna, the Circle of Moon Druid. Bear shape. 3 mana for a human elf druid. That's a 2/4. As long as it's your turn, Circle of the Moon Druid is a bear with base and power, toughness 4/2. Meh. Meh. Limited play stuff. Probably not really that cool. This is the alternate art for the Inferno of the Star Mounds. I think that is freaking amazing. It looks so nice. If I can get this through my buying the Mastery Pass, then I'm definitely going to do so, because that looks incredible. I love the look of that card. Next up, check the tarps. This is kind of like discard card. I did actually get to read this one in a Facebook group earlier. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. Exile that card. If an instant card or a card with flash is exiled this way, they lose 1 life. Otherwise, you lose 1 life. It's kind of going to be like the new. It's one from Ikoria in black that gets you to exile things from hand. Think of Agonizing Remorse. Sorry, it's not Ikoria, it's Theros. This might like be the new Agonizing Remorse for those hand hate decks once rotation hits. Pretty cool. Nothing special. Next up we have Plate Armor. 3 mana equipment, 2 and a white. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has Ward 1. Then it has equip cost of 3 and its ability costs 1 less to activate for each other equipment you control. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You can like shuffle it around really quickly if you get like a full set of different equipments down on the field and they wipe you. I just did a video last night on equipments. This is another good one to look at. This is going to cost nothing to equip if you've got Tormrund or whatever, the dwarf guy that was spoiled on day 1 of spoilers. And a few other, there's that Assassin's class, I think it was, is one of the classes that reduces equipment costs. Like, I'm just sorry to all my viewers who caught yesterday's video that I was just so tired and I like completely failed on the stream. I just like almost passed out on my chair and had to cut it early. But I really do believe what I said in the beginning of that video. The equipment deck is coming, and I think it's going to be at minimum tier 3 and at hopefully at least a tier 2 deck in the meta, especially post rotation. I'm definitely going to be giving that a try as well in the first week of the new standard. Next up, we have Eyes of the Beholder. Oh, it's only got 1 eye. Target creature gets -11/-11 for 6 mana, instant speed. Okay. Kill anything. It's basically against the Tarask guy. Okay, interesting. Weird card. Next up, another vampire. sort of pre-Innistrad little vampire sprinkle and werewolf sprinkling that we've received in the last couple of days has been pretty nice. And I think a lot of this zombie stuff and skeleton stuff that we're getting now is also going to be like, because I think Innistrad, of course, is vampires and werewolves, but there's also a lot of zombies and vampire and skeletons and stuff like that. So maybe it might be, a sign of what's to come. Next up, when vampire spawn enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Meh. Meh. Probably more something for limited, I guess. This is a cool one. I think this is going to see quite a bit of play. It's so versatile. You choose one, and until end of turn, the creature that you target with this instant becomes one of the 3 things I'm about to say. Either a 1/3 turtle with hexproof, a 1/5 spider with reach, or a 3/3 elephant with trample. So depending on what you need to do, you can make a little crappy guy that you have on the field into one of those things and use it to exactly how you need it. Either hexproof, throws a little turtle. It's like kind of snake bite without gaining the +1/+1 counter, but still. Then you need to block a big flyer, becomes a spider with reach. You need to attack in and get in with trample for a little bit extra damage, make it into an elephant. So pretty cool little card. For 1 mana, instant speed, uncommon, I think well deserved, super well designed card. I love the art, everything about it. Nice card. We'll definitely see play in my opinion. So here we come into the Vecna things. So let's go go and look up back again the card that fits with them. It's the black artifact. Mono black is looking epic with the Draco Lich and stuff. Here we go. The Book of Vile Darkness. So at the beginning of your end step, if you lost 2 or more life this turn, you created But then you can either tap it and exile it. So I guess you need to have. So you've already need to have played the 2 that we're gonna read in a second. So let me scroll up to those so that it's quicker. You play Eye of Vecna on turn 2. It's a 2 mana card, and I cannot see how much does the other one cost. 3 mana. So you need to have both the hand and the eye down, before you do this thing. But then if you do, you sacrifice both of them and the Book of the Vile Dead, and you create this thing called Vecna, a legendary 8/8 black zombie creature god token with indestructible, and it gains all the triggered abilities of the exiled cards. So it gains this ability at the beginning of your end step, you keep making the zombie army. It gains this ability, which at the beginning of your combat step on your turn, a creature or a creature you control named Vecna gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. And the equip cost is, I don't know, I mean, this is weird. I don't get this. At the beginning of combat on your turn, equip creature or a creature you control named Vecna gets +X/+X. So if it's the triggered ability on Vecna, you don't need to equip it. And it gets +X/+X based on the number of cards in your hand. So pretty cool. Okay. And then the other triggered ability here is that at the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2, and if you do, you draw a card and you lose 2 life. So essentially, that's making your Vecna god bigger and bigger because you can draw a card before your draw step by paying 2 life. Draw 2 cards instead. That's pretty cool. And then there's other things that synergize with that, because the first one was that whenever you lose life, you create a yeah. Okay, I see it now. You lose 2 life to draw a card, growing the main god one, and then because you lost 2 life, it makes a zombie token at the end of your I think it's your end step. So constantly new little zombies, hand draw, a little bit of life loss. I could see that being really good with all the other zombie stuff that's going on in the deck, in the set. I'm really excited for the zombies. I'm looking really excited for the goblins. Yeah, oh yeah, and this guy we just talked about, which will fit right into that combo that I was just talking about. Epic. Okay, and then the last card. We've come down to the last card, and it's a Planeswalker, Mythic Planeswalker for fucking 6 mana. Mordekainen. Must be something D&D that I'm not aware of. But it's a legendary planeswalker in blue, 4 and 2 blue, +2. Says draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand down the bottom of your library. So he's a little Teferi wannabe, this guy. -2 creates a blue dog illusion creature token with this creature's power and toughness are equal each to twice the number of cards in your hand. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then the -10, when you finally get there, says that you can exchange your hand and your library, then shuffle, and you get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. Pretty cool. Not sure at all yet where this is going to go, but that's a bunch of pretty cool things. I wonder how good it really is and whether maybe just a one-off in some decks. I'm not sure what deck I would even put this in. Like drawing cards, making a big dog illusion. You can just keep making those, I guess, but it's minusing down. Interesting. We'll have to see. All right. That's gonna do it for today. What are your favorite cards that we sport today? Let me know in the comments down below. My favorite was absolutely Mr. Inferno here, and then I have a bit of a soft spot for the Grandmaster of Flowers. We'll have to see. Also, I really like Skeletal Warning, but we'll have to see whether this Planeswalker is any good whatsoever. But I am 100% sure that this is going to be busted out, and I can't wait to play it. So yeah. That's going to be it for this edition of Spoiler Talk. I think it might be the last one. If there's any new spoilers that come up, I will, of course, quickly jump on the stream and make another. But yeah, that's it for Spoiler Talk for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out.